Welcome into a Saturday edition of the CHGO Bears Podcast. CHGO Bears preseason coverage is presented by Ray Chevrolet. Shop the new car clearance event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman with you on a Saturday. Our thoughts go out to Greg Braggs Jr. and his surgery that went well yesterday, as I understand it. One like equals one prayer. Braggs. It could be any kind of prayer. It could be praying for his knees, praying for his recovery, praying for his pain, praying that he never does a live podcast on drugs before surgery. I mean, any of these things qualify.
Well, shout out to Steven or whoever put that picture together. I'm assuming it's Steven. That's freaking brilliant, and it's really maybe our favorite one. Definitely more than any of them that is me, and I'm a me guy. Gregory's the toughest guy we know. This guy's just battling through and doing videos, and I talked to him today. It's been a tough 24 hours for Greg, but he's bouncing back. He'll be back, and he's annoying everybody still in his state. So it's an incredible accomplishment.
I don't know. When we get to the Daryl Taylor part of this show, do we play that video from yesterday? We didn't really discuss this pre-show, but we could get his breakdown of the trade.
I don't see any. It's a Saturday show. I think we have a lot of freedom today, Hoge. We absolutely positively could do that. There's a lot going on and there's not a ton going on. So, I know that we're very close to 60,000 subscribers. So maybe if we get there, we could play the Braggs video in a celebration, live from the hospital bed. If you hit the subscribe button, as you see there, only 27 away. Subscribe for Gregory. I don't know if that really will push the needle, but maybe it will. It's like a movement here. Subscribe for Greg. What do you think?
I love it. We're so close.
Hoge thinks we're going to lose subscribers. Might lose subscribers if we go subscribe for Greg.
No, I think we should subscribe for Greg, pray for Greg, celebrate Greg, always.
I mean, really, at the end of the day, it is only about Gregory P. Allen Braggs. Hoge, before we get into best and worst and everything, I know that there's some exciting stuff coming this week on the 85 with Cole Kmet.
The interview for this week is already in the can. I don't want to promote it just yet in case something else comes up, but we do have one interview that is super interesting that I think will be this week, but we, surprises along the way on the 85, which is always fun. And we'll get Cole's final preseason thoughts, roster thoughts, all types of stuff. I think that'll be coming Tuesday this week. So make sure you head over to the 85 with Cole Kmet and hit subscribe on that too. It's a separate channel. It's a separate podcast feed. So make sure you are subscribed to both on the 85. And let's get over 60,000 right here on CHGO Bears as well. We are going to break down these two trades. We got roster moves that were made today, but we also covered a practice as well today at Halas Hall.
And I think we should start with that because we'll go deep dive here and shout out to the 85 and all the work everybody's doing around there. And I believe the guy who wears the number 85 is a part of your best and worst from today, Adam Hoge, as we go into your best, my friend.
Yes. My best does not have to do with 85. My worst was something he was involved in, but not his fault. There was a play that Jaquan Brisker made. Now that the stands they're not completely gone at Halas Hall, but now that the stands are no longer being used and we are back to our sort of sideline view, just steps away from the field, we got an up close look at a play that happened right in front of us with Jaquan Brisker covering a lot of ground coming across the field to intercept it was Caleb who threw that pass, right? I'm pretty sure that was a Caleb Williams pass.
100%.
But, if you can put aside that, yes, Caleb Williams did throw an interception, Jaquan Brisker, the amount of ground he covered on that play, he caught it while falling down. I don't know if you quite call it a diving interception, but sort of a going to the ground interception because he had to keep his feet in bounds too. And it was a really, really, really nice, athletic, fast play that Carm thought was out of bounds. However,
I did.
My eyes saw it perfectly with 2 feet in, and I was backed up by 2 officials. So unless 2 officials and myself were wrong, Carm's wrong.
Well, I will acquiesce to you, Hoge, on your.
That was a big word.
Yeah, well, shout out to Glenn Morgan, who acquiesced to me on the final time I ever got to host a football night in Chicago and admitted that I was right, which is my goal ultimately. Whenever my last show is here, hopefully in a decade plus, that Hoge will finally acquiesce my way. But I will acquiesce to you today that you saw it correctly. But regardless, I like that you underlined that we were on the sideline. It's very rare that we get to be that close, and the ball is coming right to us almost, and here comes Brisker flying, and he's sliding like a couple of feet from us. It was a hell of a play. Late in training camp, you could kind of let that one go. It wasn't going to be complete, but Brisker with the full-time effort, I enjoyed the play, and fine, whatever. He was in bounds. If you want to give Caleb an interception, that's on you. I was trying to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, well, it still did happen. We have to say what happens at practice, good or bad. It was a really tough, great interception. Meanwhile, and it was also ball downfield. So like the other team would have gotten the ball, and I don't even know what down it was. So maybe it was like, could have been 3rd and long, like a punt, because he ended up catching it at inside the 10, I believe. Regardless,
it was triple coverage too. Go ahead.
Yeah. My worst goes for just something you don't. I love Kyler Gordon. I love how Kyler Gordon's always flying around the field. I love his style of play. He is hits, ball, everything Matt Eberflus wants. But when you're not in pads, especially when you're not in pads, but even when you're in pads, knocking over the highly paid tight end, sort of blindsiding him, but especially in a practice where you're not in pads. I'm glad Cole's okay, because he looked like a little, I don't want to say shaken up, but the hit definitely surprised him, and it shouldn't have happened. I don't think it was malicious or anything. It's just they are NFL players out there on a practice field, and they do run into each other sometimes. But now that the preseason's over, let's take care of these guys, please, and not have more important players get hurt.
Yeah, it belongs for me on one of our worst. I was going to make it mine as well, because don't hit Cole Kmet coming across the middle on a Saturday practice, the 2 days before cutdown day with the season coming around September 8th. And I'm not in the mind of Cole Kmet, but I think he literally was supremely annoyed, then got up, thought about, do I need to have a fight right now? And just thought better of it and went back to the huddle. And Gordon did, I think, pull him up and say, basically, I'm sorry, didn't mean that, whatever. But it was the jarring moment of today's practice.
Yeah. Literally jarring.
Yeah.
Especially to Cole. So yeah, that's my best and worst. Carm, what do you got?
So, it's just getting a little redundant here. I get it. But Tyson Bagent threw a freaking dime down the right sideline. My apologies. On Twitter, I said it was on the left sideline. It was a throw down the right sideline. Perfect stride, right to Tyler Scott, touchdown. And Bagent did is that the bow and arrow, Hoge? What is that thing that is that what it is? The bow and arrow?
Are you asking me a Bagent question? Like you shouldn't already have his celebration. That's pretty much well known at this point.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's shooting an arrow. He does. Yeah. He makes a pass and then he does that.
Yeah.
It's very disappointing.
I apologize too.
That's my new worst of the day, actually. That you didn't know Bagent's celebration.
That's fair. I apologize to Tyson and to Travis and to his mom, whose name I also don't know. That's a loaf right there. I should know Bagent's mother's name. That's a bad job. But not to Betty's, where he had the 6 eggs after doing the 1 mile burpee broad jump extravaganza. So it was a sweet throw. Would you agree, Adam Hoge, that was the best throw of the day? I knew I wasn't going to get immediate buy-in, but he's at least debating.
Well, because I almost made it my best, but Caleb had that really nice out to DJ Moore,
and
I honestly think I'm hesitating because I'm not trying to put down the throw to Tyson's throw, or even disagree with what you're saying because it was a great throw. But I think the degree of difficulty on a go ball is not as high as Caleb's perfectly timed out route to DJ that was also with excellent accuracy. So I think Caleb's throw was actually harder on an NFL scale.
And more likely to be made. I actually will agree with you and back down, as I did put on the rundown that I was going to mention both, because the throw to DJ, which I also tweeted about today, what was impressive about it to me is DJ's running right towards us down the sidelines. I think he's on a go route, and boom, he breaks it off. And before he broke it off, Caleb, that was a dart right on the money. And this was a light Saturday practice. I don't want to get over the top on one throw, but that thing was like, oh, that is how an NFL quarterback throws an out in the NFL to beat any defender that nobody could possibly stop that play. It was absolutely sweet. I concur. And my worst on the day, I get it. And I'm pointing the thumb here mainly. And look, Chris Williams coming over here, 2025 sixth rounder, and you get a 7-6 flip. It's not the most exciting. He's bouncing around practice squads. He's barely played in the league. But we just didn't do a good job in our interview preparation today. He came in ready to talk, and I just thought the media did a very bad job today interviewing Chris Williams. Didn't give him the respect that he deserves as a guy that's been around the league, and I didn't ask a question. So I'm looking at myself on a light day where Hoge took the Cole Kmet, Kyler Gordon moment. I think I got to go to the media today and say that, Brad Biggs, Courtney Cronin, Mark Potash, Alex Shapiro, Mark Grody, whoever else was in that room that I'm leaving out, we all could have done better. Chris Williams deserved better from us.
That was a 3-minute press conference.
It was terrible. It was so painful. And he comes out there, he's like, hey guys, super happy to be here. Life is crazy. I was with Matt. Actually, that's not true. I did ask him one thing, like, what do you remember about Matt Eberflus? I should have given myself more credit. And he did it.
You should give yourself credit. That was probably the best question, the best answer.
I think it was. And he's like, ball, get the ball. All right, Flus.
No wonder that they traded for you.
We'll
talk about him. Yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. It was just, we could have done Chris better. So I'd like to apologize to Chris and the Williams family for our performance.
I like how you make a lot of apologies to these families.
Well, imagine if his mom was watching. Hopefully she was. And here's her son, and he's in Chicago, and she wants to hear him talk, and we do nothing. It's a bad job.
One more shout out. This could have easily been something that could have looked like the worst to begin with, and then maybe turned into the best. But I'm just going to leave it for what Flu said. But Jalen Johnson left practice early today, and we we're all kind of like wondering what was up with that, because he was out there and then he wasn't out there. And it didn't look like anything happened, but Flus did say after the practice it was for personal reasons, and he said it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing. My personal view on these things is I will let the player and make whatever announcements he wants to, because it is personal stuff, and that's cool. But I think if you Google or look at anything on Twitter, you could probably put one and one together on what was going on there and some of the interviews Jalen Johnson has done. So, but nothing to worry about there. All good news for Jalen Johnson, and I'm sure we'll see him later on when I think the Bears are going to have a padded practice on Wednesday. It sounds like Wednesday, Thursday, 3 more padded practices before the first game.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And the Flus underline, these next couple of days are very important. We're going to get our mind and our body in better condition. I did remotely think about asking exactly how does the Flus get his mind in better condition, because I need to get my mind in better condition. But I decided that the room was not a great choice. So, at any rate, thank you, Hoge. Go ahead.
Let's talk about Rhoback Activewear. We love Rhoback here at CHGO. You all know by now, we wear Rhoback all the time. It's quite simple. Best fit, best feel. The quality of the gear just speaks for itself. Their performance polos perform better in the heat than any other polos. They're moisture wicking, so the polo doesn't stick to you and have such a nice stretch. Their everyday shorts are also perfect for the combo. For a day on the move. They look clean. They use comfort of an elastic waistband and will fall right around the corner. What better time to prepare for the season than adding one of their performance hoodies to your closet? They're the softest items we own. We can't take them off, even now in the Chicago heat. So use code CHGO20 on Rhoback.com for a generous 20% off your first order. That's spelled Rhoback, RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all polos, hoodies, and shorts with code CHGO20. Make sure to check them out, and they will have you ready for whatever travels or activities you have.
Love our friends at Rhoback, and I also love a great deal as much as the next guy, and that's why I like to work with our friends over at Mint Mobile. It's easy. There's no hoops. There's no BS. Mint Mobile is going to get you wireless for $15 a month when you buy a 3-month plan. And yes, it's a sweet, sweet deal. The longest part of the process, by the way, when you're doing this is when you break up with your old provider, but you're going to feel so good about it that you have the Mint Mobile working for you. Get started. This is what you do. You go to mintmobile.com/CHGO, mintmobile.com/CHGO. Right now, 3-month plans, $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. Yes, it all does come with the high-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. To get this new customer offer and the new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, once again, go to mintmobile.com/CHGO, mintmobile.com/CHGO. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. mintmobile.com/CHGO. $45 upfront payment required. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, Sir Hoge, let us pray and let us get excited about Darrell Taylor. I know that the rumors were hot and heavy that somebody was coming in here. Taylor is the guy. I am curious your reaction here to the Bears' newest guy who can rush the passer. What do you like about him? What are you seeing in this move?
Yeah, so Darrell Taylor has had an interesting NFL career so far. He was a second-round pick back in 2020 by the Seattle Seahawks, but came in with an offseason, I believe it was a leg fracture, and basically didn't play his rookie year. Actually, I believe ended up on the non-football injury list, which ended up creating a weird situation this offseason because this would have been the end of his last year, would have been the last year of his rookie deal, but his contract told, if I understand all this correctly, because of being on the NFI for the whole first year, and that put him in a situation where he's technically a restricted free agent. So you have a new coaching staff coming in Seattle with the guy who's already been there. I think the Seahawks liked Darrell Taylor as a pass rusher. His numbers have been pretty productive, but he's not the best against the run, or at least that's how he's sort of graded out so far in his career. And meanwhile, you have a scheme change up there with Mike McDonald coming in over from Baltimore. And so they signed him to this 1-year, $3-point-something million deal to keep him around. But I think it was pretty obvious based on what we knew going into today, and also what Darrell Taylor said himself today, it just wasn't a good fit in this new defense. He seemed pretty relieved to be, back in a 4-down scheme. This scheme's in particular, and I know the Bears feel confident that the way Matt Eberflus's system kind of simplifies the rules for their edge rushers, being able to play more of like a 5 and a 9 technique, switch between the two. They feel like this is a good fit, a much better fit for Darrell Taylor than he had in Seattle under the new coaching staff. So these are the types of moves, Carm, that you're always trying to make this time of year. You look at Like a lot of work goes into this with your pro scouting department. You're looking at teams that have new schemes, players that might not fit those schemes. That's a lot of the types of trades you see this time of year when guys are already under contract. Also, somebody in this case, for Seattle's sake, he's on a 1-year contract. So, he wouldn't have been around probably after the season, even if he played it out. So it kind of does right by the player, helps the Bears. And if you're the Seahawks, you're getting back, a minimal draft pick, but at least something for a guy, and you take the money off the book. So I think this trade made a lot of sense for both sides. And now if you're the Bears, you just talk about the fit, which we'll get into here a little bit, and hoping to get the most out of what his skill set is.
So let's hear from Taylor today, because I just thought his enthusiasm for coming in here and this is a high motor guy. Flus talked about, the thing he loves the most is his motor. The Bears obviously have a huge need opposite Montez Sweat, who's going to do it. So just listening to him talk today, Hoge, I don't know if you have the same reaction that I did, but I was like, oh, this guy is sweet. So here's just a little snippet of his excitement first.
Hey, I didn't know that much, but I know we are 4-3 defense, and I'm excited to be moving forward, like going straight all the time. I'm excited about that part. I get to play forward, get to put my hands on guys and stuff like that. So I'm excited to be, in this defense and just hearing from the guys, man. It's an opportunity to get to rush the passer here, and I'm excited to do that too.
And so the question was like, what do you know about the Bears? Like, I'm just excited. He said excited like 3 times there and get my hands on people in 4-3, right?
Well, yeah, the scheme. Look, the one thing about Mike Macdonald's scheme, Carman, is he's really, really good at rushing 4, but disguising who's coming. So instead of like disguising your coverages, you're disguising who's. So you're not necessarily blitzing, but you might have 3D linemen go and a nickel, 3D linemen and a linebacker, 3D linemen and a safety, and you don't know. But what that means for the DNs, you got to be willing to drop back in coverage. So when he's saying, I'm just happy to be going straight all the time, that's what he's talking about. He's like, oh, I don't have to worry about dropping back in the coverage all the time now. Like they were probably, it's like I watched Seattle Seahawks, training camp, but I know about the scheme and I'm taking what he's saying and I'm putting it together. I think, that's where, save for that one moment in Cleveland last year where they did drop. Who did they drop back in that game? And it resulted in a disaster.
The worst moment in the history of the Chicago Bears last year. Who was that? Oh yeah, it was Justin Jones.
That's what it was. Yeah.
No,
so it might still happen, but it won't happen a lot here. He can play defensive end. He can play probably the style he wants to play, and I think the style the Bears think he's best at. So he should be excited.
Well, and, talking to some people around the NFL about him, very quick off the ball, 21 and a half sacks, man, in 3 years for a 6th-round pick at a position that you absolutely need. I know, this is the consolation prize not getting Matthew Judon, but it seems to me that, a 6th-round pick with the amount of picks the Bears have, I like it. I asked him one question that we can play here about getting to start, which I knew he was going to say yes to, but here was the Q&A with myself and Taylor today. You excited? The Bears don't have somebody who's designated to start up opposite Montez Sweat, so in theory, maybe you could look at it like that could be you.
That's why I'm excited to be here, because there's a lot of opportunity, and I think the coaches and the staff here is just looking, for guys that's looking for opportunities. So I'm excited to be here. I'm an opportunist, so I'm just excited to be here and get my opportunity, get my shot.
I'm an opportunist too, Hoge. I'm going to give you this opportunity to talk about the opportunity that he has in front of him, which is, Flus says it's rotational, but it won't be a rotation if he starts getting to the quarterback a ton, right?
No, it still will be, because there's this guy named Austin Booker who they really like and is going to see the field. And okay. One thing I've kind of changed my tune on a little bit since Thursday night too is I think Don Robb makes his team. So I think you have a couple young guys that the Bears are still gonna. Now, are they all going to be active on game day? Well, at some point you're going to run the numbers. You're going to run out of guys that you can play. But that's a testament to you feel better about the depth today than you did yesterday before this trade got made. So I do think it's going to be a rotational thing. I think it has to be. I think it's understandable that the Bears feel like Daryl Taylor can be better against the run in their scheme because of their rules within their defense. But that doesn't mean he's going to all of a sudden, be a superstar against the run. And so that is going to make him somewhat of a liability on some downs. And so I think you will see a rotation over there. But when you start to think about guys you could trust to be on the field or want to see on the field, and now all of a sudden you're talking about, look, DeMarcus Walker is still going to be listed first on the depth chart as the defensive end outside Montez Sweat, and he's going to kick inside more or the same amount. Regardless, that's already something we knew was going to happen. So now you have three guys in Taylor, in Ian Booker, Austin Booker, excuse me, and Dom Rob potentially that, I think they're going to feel like they can have out there on the field and not be a liability. You feel that's why I think that they made this move and feel better about it today. And that depth looks understandable to go after missing out on Matthew Judon. This is a pretty good plan B.
Yeah, I was texting with Wu today, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn sharing what he wrote. I remember him in 22, thought he was rocking, took a bit of a step back, but could be a huge opportunity opposite Sweat. And then we have Braggs from the hospital bed also weighing in. Gregory, we were always thinking about you. You write us, we think of you. I see Austin Booker back in coverage a few times during the preseason. It's still definitely a look Flus likes to give, hopefully not as much, but it's one of the few ways to, quote, trick a quarterback QB in a cover two. Look, you're getting an opportunity to play opposite Montez Sweat. He's going to get a lot of attention. Hopefully, the Bears up front, Gervon Dexter Sr. specifically, can make a big time step forward. But I would think that as far as Darrell Taylor is concerned, like what better situation could he have possibly walked into? They need him. There's a great player opposite him, and he's not fine. He's not going to, he's not going to get starter reps, but he's going to get opportunities, lots of them. You would think.
All right, well, let's do this. We teased that video earlier, and I do have to set it up just slightly. But Greg Braggs had ACL surgery yesterday, and as they give you sort of a pre-drugging before they do the anesthesia, and I believe he was in the pre-drugging phase when this trade went down, and this was his instant reaction from the hospital bed.
Well, the Bears, Ryan Poles, made a move to add to pass rush. Darrell Taylor from the Seahawks. It's very good. What does that mean for Dom Rob? What does it mean for Daniel Hardy? All questions we need to know as I'm like 20, 30 minutes from going under. They've given me slight medicine, not full like anesthesia yet or anything like that. So we're still good. I'm giving the people what they want.
No, and I'm going to take your phone. You're done.
Stop. We're doing.
Greg.
Stop. We're giving the people what they want because all the Bears guys are golfing, and I'm working. So just wanted to give an update. I'll be just fine. And the Bears made a move for a pass rush. So now we all got to reset our 53. My 53-man roster consists of Caleb Williams on every single slot. So just Caleb Williams named 53 times. You guys break it down however you need to, but like seeing Ryan Poles adding depth on the D-line, something tells me he's not done yet. So stay tuned for more loopy analysis as the day goes on. That's the best I'm going to give you right now. Dom Rob, you're on notice. See what happens. Jenny's giving me a look. I better get off. She's giving me a very angry. It's a look of anger, but also like a sense of pride here.
Give me that phone.
She just doesn't understand good content when you see it. Goodbye. Goodbye.
That is just the best.
All right, I have to admit, I hadn't watched the whole thing. That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I think
well,
is that the best work he's ever done?
just, you know,
I mean, Bagman
Jenny-
was good, but that's right there.
Jenny taking the phone away is the best part. All right, we got to we might hear more from Braggs here in a second. But first, it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right, Adam Hoge. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do?
They should go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You bet your Greg Bragg's in a hospital bed with that weird cap on his face thing. I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Shop summertime savings going on now at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and save on the perfect new vehicle for you this August. Score new lower prices across their huge inventory during the Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, get 0% financing for 36 months on most of their new 2024 Jeep models, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey with Ray's Price Promise. The numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of Chicago's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
Special opportunity right now on the CHGO Bears podcast. He's making his way back. We apparently are only 15 subscribers away from 60K. So if you could, please hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We're here Monday through Friday during the season at noon. We're here for your pre and post game. We're here for any breaking news. We're here on a Saturday at 4 o'clock because the Bears are practicing. And who else would be working other than us? We're right here for you. Hit that subscribe button. Nobody's going to give you the coverage of the Chicago Bears like the CHGO Bears podcast. And we appreciate you. It helps us grow the show. And also helping us grow the show, hopefully, is this man who is recovering. I guess Greg Braggs is available to us. We're putting him in the middle. And there he is.
Hello.
Alive and well. Gregory P. Allen.
Hello. Yes, enjoying my day in the garage. We got the Cubs game on. They're working to get to 500. College football. Just relax there, Hoge. All right, put your baseball sword down. College football kicked off this year. Florida State, number 10, goes down early today. That was a great game. So, but yes, there's the knee in all its glory. It hurts like hell. And say hi, Mom.
Hey there.
Hi, Barb.
Say hi.
Hi, Jenny.
There they are. So I'll be quick because I know we've got more the D tackle to talk about. Pole's making some moves, but I just wanted to thank everybody for the well wishes. I feel much better today. It definitely hurts like hell, but we'll make it through. So it was nice that Poles was able to drop a few moves in to keep things interesting the last couple days. But I just wanted to drop in, say hi, and say thank you to everybody in the chat and everybody on Twitter for sending their well wishes. And yes, let's get to 60,000 subscribers, man. We appreciate all you guys. It's going to be a really fun year. If you thought yesterday was fun, more drugs to come because I got another knee to get repaired here in a few months. So we got drugged up Bragg. Stay tuned.
Will that surgery be happening during the regular season?
We don't know at this point. I gotta get this one rehabbed up right. I'd personally like to have it done sooner rather than later, but I'll leave that to the doctors
Well,
to decide.
the reason why I asked is because I just think like a Monday morning surgery the day after a Bears game with you on some, a little bit of anesthesia or whatever drugs they give you before that. I think we could get a great breakdown of whatever happened the day before.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely learned yesterday that if I'm on drugs, that I'm much calmer and more thought out. So I agree with you, Carm. Like, it was probably my best moment because I was actually calm for 5 minutes of my life. So it was interesting. It was kind of like watching yourself from like outside of yourself for a minute.
Hopefully they gave Jenny some of those drugs to go.
Yes. Yes. She could use a few drugs for putting up with me every day. But yeah, so I'll go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say hit the subscribe button for Give Me the Phone.
Give me the phone. It was a great moment, which is funny because I had just shut my phone off after I fired off a couple tweets about Poles making the move. And I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I need to go live right now, do an emergency pod. And so I was like, Jenny, give me the phone back. I turned it back on. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, just hold on. And then I went live, and I'm so glad I did because it was hilarious. That's the kind of content I'm striving for here at CHGO Bears. So I'll let you guys get back to the football talk, but I just want to drop in, say hi. I'll be back next week. I'll be ready to break down the roster. I know the cuts 53-man roster is going to come out on Tuesday, so I'll be ready for all that and Hard Knocks After Dark. So I'm feeling much better today. So back to the football business. You guys take care. And once again, thank you to everybody that's tuned in. We appreciate you guys.
You don't say goodbye. We say goodbye to you. I'll let you know when we're done with you, and then you can go back to doing
I just feel bad. I feel bad because I know people want to talk about the acquisitions,
Yeah, we got to talk about Chris Williams. Jenny, please take the phone away again. What are we doing?
Get out of here now. Now you can go.
I'm on my computer.
See you later. Steven, take him off the screen. Greg Braggs.
There he is, Braggs. We love Braggs. That was good to hear from him because he is in pain. We know he's in pain.
Yeah, I spoke with Gregory earlier today, and he sounded terrible. This is an amazing recovery 6 hours later. This dude's this is quick. I'm impressed.
He was doing a Dom Rob Spaces conversation at like 8 p.m. last night. So
of course he was.
Yeah. All right. That was great stuff from Greg, and we wish him the best. We will see him soon. I believe he'll be back on Tuesday's show. So yeah, it's good. Glad it was a successful surgery. Let's talk about the other trade that came down today. More D-line help for the Chicago Bears. A guy that Matt Eberflus knows well. Chris Williams, who Carm talked about earlier. Somewhat of a short press conference today, but Chris Williams was with Flus in Indy, which is where he started his career. And it was interesting because Flus was like, when he was talking about him today, he's like, yeah, been following him. He's definitely gotten better. And the word out of Cleveland was this guy was somebody who was, having a good offseason, good camp, showing improvement. I haven't broken down their roster completely, to know why, maybe it sounded like a guy that was on the bubble. And if you can get a pick, upgrade a 7th to a 6th to get this thing done, just to do something if you're going to let him go anyway. Again, those are the types of trades that get done this time of year right before the season starts. So for the Bears, they get somebody in Chris Williams that Flus has coached before, that knows will fit this hits principle. He did say, they've changed the scheme a little bit over the years, so it's not like this is just going to be like walk in and know everything, but the familiarity will help. And honestly, Carm, I think this is more of an insurance policy. I don't think this has anything to do with Javon Dexter or anything. I think this has to do with the fact that Zach Pickens is still not practicing. And what is Zach Pickens' availability for the week 1 at this point? We don't know the answer to that. But if he can't go, and even if he can go, it just exposes some of your lack of depth on the interior of the defensive line. And so this is a guy that, will play the way you want to play your defense. And it just gives you some depth. But this goes back to something I feel like I kept just repeating over and over and over again all offseason. They let Justin Jones walk to Arizona, and they never replaced him. There was never some signing that this is the guy to replace Justin Jones. It was just Javon Dexter moves up. Great. But who replaces Javon Dexter in that spot? They always needed another defensive tackle. And it just never seemed like throughout training camp that any of the other guys on the roster were going to be the dude to do it. And, maybe they thought there's a chance that was going to be Keith Randolph, the undrafted free agent out of Illinois, but they waived him today. So it just never happened. And instead it's a trade right before the season starts to add Chris Williams.
I mean, you're basically getting him for free, a 7th for a 6th. That's Chase Claypool territory. Please get out of here. And I obviously completely different circumstances. I don't think Chris Williams is ever going to be a problem in anyone's locker room. But look, Flus knows him. He's supposedly good off the ball. He loves football, fits the profile. I think it's interesting if you go back in time with him. Comes out of Brooklyn, plays at Wagner College, small college out east that most people haven't heard of. His defensive line coach there was Terrence Knighton, if you remember Pot Roast, the Denver Bronco back in the day. There's something to be said for that, along with the fact that he worked out with Robert Mathis when he was a Indianapolis Colt. I think he's just a good locker room fit. A need is there, and he is young. So, look, it is a slight indictment on the roster that they got to do something like this, but they gave up nothing. So, I think I have a hard time quibbling with bringing in Chris Williams right now.
Yeah, no, I think it's a move that makes sense. And I don't think the Bears are done. I think, I think they'll continue to make phone calls over the weekend, look at potential areas to upgrade the roster. Does that include, I don't know if any punt returners come available around the league. I think Carter is your guy right now as things stand. But things are always fluid here. That's the thing. Even after that roster set on Tuesday, there will be 1 or 2 more changes probably by the weekend. You want to have that thing finalized. There's a deadline Tuesday. But you're always still working that thing until you actually get to game week.
Well, and we didn't get an update today on Larry Borum. Flus doesn't know, but that's a major move, and maybe Matt Pryor is going to be the guy, but that's fine. We don't know. We don't know on Ryan Bates. You don't know how long Pickens is going to be out. Pettis wasn't practicing today. How long is that going to go? Everybody expects Kevin Byard back, but he was still not practicing. There's no real fair update on Patrick Scales. That's been going on for a long time now. You got a lot of dudes that aren't practicing. So, I didn't even mention Roshan Johnson, Jacob Martin as well. So, yeah, to your point, Hoge, yes, I sure, more changes coming. And thank you, by the way. Apparently, we just hit 60,000 subscribers, Adam Hoge. We appreciate you, baby.
Yep. We will get some super chats here. I know some people have some questions about the roster rules and stuff like that because I saw them in there. We can certainly address some of those as well. Just trying to think though, from practice today, I think we hit on everything. It was a light practice. They weren't in pads, a lot of red zone stuff. Flus did say that it was a lot of, they did a lot of 1 reps today. There wasn't a whole lot of reps for the backups, but that was to kind of make up for the fact that they didn't play in the game on Thursday. And I asked Flus about this. I think it's fair to just call it sort of a layoff that you have here. You used to have your final preseason game, Carm, this coming Thursday that we're approaching. And then all the cuts would be made by Saturday during Labor Day weekend. And it was kind of a wild time because it really condensed the amount of time that you made these cuts and stuff like that. And to get out there by Monday on Labor Day to kind of start your game week. And by getting rid of that 4th preseason game, it really went the total other direction where you have now 2.5 weeks from the last game. Now, a lot of teams are still playing today, have their final preseason game today. So it's like a 2-week layoff before your first game, and really just sort of this nothing week that happens. And if you're going to do it what the Bears did by not playing your starters in the last game, it's like a 3-week layoff from getting live reps. And I asked Flus today if he likes that. And he's like, it doesn't really matter what I like, but we got to deal with it. So it kind of seemed like he doesn't love it. But, he did say, we're going to have 2 padded practices this week. So they'll make the final cut downs on Tuesday. And then the guys that are still here, you'll set your practice squad. You'll get back out there on Wednesday and Thursday with 2 padded practices before they go into Labor Day weekend. And they'll get the weekend off. And then there'll be 1 more padded practice next week on the game week against the Titans on that Wednesday prep day, which is relatively common, although you can really only have 10 of those during the 18 weeks of the season. So yeah, the word I got there was they're not going to necessarily take it easy, at least those 2 practices later this coming week, because you got to stay in game shape somehow.
Well, and look, it's been an exceedingly long training camp starting early with the Hall of Fame game, and we're 5 weeks into it now. But we are also getting to the end here. Some of us are taking off next week to go watch the U.S. Open and, are going to recharge our batteries coming out of the Labor Day. And some of us are just, took a month off in July and are ready to go for seemingly forever over there in his white hat, just grinding like nothing. Like it's just relentless, this Adam Hoge. But I thought 3 padded practices left to get ready for the Titans in week 1, which I believe the guy that was just on this show from his garage via his hospital bed is calling a must win. It'll be, we're down to it as far as what this is going to be preparation wise to start the season. It's right around the corner. So are they ready? I don't know. We're going to find out soon enough at this point. I mean, September 8th cooking.
All right, let's get to some super chats, Steven, and then we'll close out today's show. Big audience on a Saturday. Greatly appreciate it. Awesome hitting 60,000 subscribers as well. That is awesome. Lou Bear Down 499 says, shout out to Carm for having a new mic and still sounding the same.
Okay. Listen, I got to get the new mic set up. It requires a base.
All I hear is it's been 2 weeks since I got the new mic and I haven't set it up.
I will get it done. I'm going to sound that much better. I haven't heard many complaints about my microphone. I think I sound lovely, but we're just, we're going from 3 stars to 4 stars. But Lou Bear, I got you, buddy. Don't you worry.
There's at least a 50% chance that your sound's not even coming through that mic right now. I thought about it 5 minutes into the show. I'm not sure. It sounds like it might be going through your headphones. I'm not sure.
Come on.
I'm not sure.
It's not.
It sounds good enough.
No, that's why.
Has it been wrong the whole show?
If I mess with it now, it's too dangerous. I'm not
just
gonna
leave it. It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
But how is that possible?
Carm has a new mic that he'll debut sometime between now and the Super Bowl.
You ready? You ready for this,
tuned.
Hoge? You want me to out myself right now, just for the sake of the show? The reason why it's not coming through is because it's not plugged in.
Greg, please take more of those drugs and get back here as soon as possible.
I think it should be better right now. I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's really annoying because
and poor Steven's taking shots in the comments. I saw it earlier. You guys need a new audio guy. No, we need a new host that knows how to plug in his damn microphone. That's what we need.
I'm upset. That's embarrassing. But there it is. Maybe your mic doesn't work because you're a Camp Nebagamon dork and next to U.S. Open dork. Greg brags in the stands from his hospital bed in his garage with his mother there. That's funny. Barb, you're the best.
Wow, now Papa Hoge. This new mic doesn't change what he says. Wow.
Wow, Donkey got car from the top deck, Papa Hoge deck. You know what? That's fine. Y'all can have a great week without me, and then you can. Although back next Friday. Hey, all right, Hoge.
Grady wants you to test the sound with your Jordan voice.
Certainly, a new microphone is not necessary if you just plug in your own microphone. A shout out yesterday, Hoge, as we go through the super chats here. Al Kiefer, I had lunch with him. People that came out for our CHGO golf outing at Cog Hill was awesome.
Good time. Yeah, great time yesterday.
But I had lunch with Kiefer, who won the closest to the pin. My guy Max, Robert Bolden, who's living out in Carolina, is the man. Jason, and Brian Pesci, who brought another bottle of whiskey for us.
More Angel Envy. Shout out to Brian. Greatly appreciated. That's so nice.
And I was talking to Brian, and I'm working on my next career with him because he's a train operator. He's taking trains out to Iowa. He's driving the Metro for you. He's a guy that doesn't watch the show. You are out there for him, Hoge. He is a podcast listener strictly. So shout out to Brian. He's the man. And I kind of want to join him on one trip out to Iowa. Hang out, drive the train.
Yeah, you should take week 1 off to do that.
Week 1 to go to Iowa.
Yeah, the Joniak-Carm rivalry went to another level today, too. We don't have to share the whole conversation, but
JJ's just getting outside of his comfort zone right now.
He did see the video, you by the way, trying to take credit for his entire career.
Oh yeah, I know he did.
Yeah, he enjoyed it.
Yeah. That's my guy. He loves me.
All right, let's get to the rest of these super chats. Quackinator 100 has a media question. He says, $4.99 super chat. What's the point of asking questions to Flus? Like, do you think these trades give you flexibility? Like he is ever going to say no?
It ain't easy, Quackinator. You're absolutely right. How do you phrase a question that'll get a good answer? This is why they pay us the big bucks. And I'm quite frankly one of the best at it.
There's also sometimes, Quackinator, they're not my favorite types of questions, but they are necessary sometimes, that even when you know the answer to something, you need the head coach to say it so that you can either use the audio on a show like this or use a quote in a story you're writing. So sometimes if the questions do seem somewhat obvious, it's still better to hear the head coach say it out loud.
And Quackinator, if you're a diehard, which I hope you are, you put a question in the Discord, tag one of us. That's a good question to the coach. We'll ask him if it's worthy. So if you want better questions, we are here for you, my friend. We do our best, but if you got something better, we're not afraid to Quackinator it up for you.
Yeah, I personally think the media in there do a phenomenal job, and that Carm was completely out of bounds attacking them at the start of this show.
Really? I mean, what about
the Giggities, $2 as I save Carm. Like the Taylor gamble, playing for a contract too. That's true.
Damn right, Giggities.
Motivated players. I also like Flus saying we don't add players that don't play hard. Big Cram $9.99. When the Bears traded for Taylor, I immediately thought of his late hit on Goff.
Do you know that one, Big Hoge? Because I don't know what Big Cram's talking about. I got to go back and watch it.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure once I see it, I'll remember it. I can Google it real quick. Why don't you do this last super chat real quick?
Sure, I will do that. Thank you, Big Cram. And Lou Bear down, $1.99. Is that what Carm sounds like? Please unplug. Oh, Lou Bear. Lou Bear, are you the new Pizzatola? Where is my I saw.
Where is Pizzy?
He's been lurking. He's lurking. It was the latest hit of all time and very funny. Bragg's in the stands from his hospital bed in his garage with his mom and his wife and his child.
Did he? It was a handoff, and he didn't realize he handed the ball off. And it's funny because he tackles him. So the quarterback had handed the ball off. He didn't realize it. So then he went and sacked Goff when he didn't have the ball, and then he celebrated.
That's the energy he plays with.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get faked out. It's all right.
Was that the play that he was actually asked about today?
I'm not sure.
Let me see here real quick. There was I think there's some other play where he came off the sidelines. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we got some penalties issue here.
That's all right. I'm not worried about it. The dude's got 21 and a half sacks in 3 years. They gave up a 6th-round pick for him. He had one season of 9 sacks. I'm good. They need something. The guy came across well today. Let's go, Daryl Taylor.
Yeah. All right. So the Bears add depth. We got a lot more moves to come. Actually, let me real quick before we get out of here also address, I should say, some of the other roster moves that were made today, because there were where the heck did this email go? Here we go. I just want to make sure I have them all in front of me. So Keith Randolph was waived, undrafted free agent from Illinois, and Doug Coleman, who got hurt, that scary injury the other night on Thursday, was a neck injury. He was waived with an injury designation, which means that he will go back to reserve, basically injured reserve, on Wednesday if he's not claimed off of waivers. Tommy Sweeney was outright released. He was a vested veteran, so he goes right on the market as a vested veteran, completely released. It does not have to go through waivers. And then 2 other guys that went on IR, Simba Webster, with that was a groin, right? I think. And then Ian Wheeler, it's kind of surprisingly, tore his ACL the other night. So I saw him get hurt. It didn't look terrible, but unfortunately not a great diagnosis. So he goes on IR. Both of those moves, because they're made before the 53-man roster is set, they are out for the year. They cannot come back. Now, new rule this year, when the 53-man roster is set, the business day that it is set, anybody that's put on IR that day can actually be designated to return. You could do that with 2 players, but that does count against your total of 8 throughout the year, if you were to actually bring them back later. So that is a new rule this year, that you don't have to wait a day. Usually you have to put a guy on a 53 and then IR him the next day. But the new rule this year, you don't have to do that, but you can only designate those guys to return on that initial 53 the same day that's done, if that all makes sense. Got all that, Carm?
I do, Adam. Thank you. And
right.
I just feel bad for Ian Wheeler, who is a very likable dude who's been on this podcast, who was working hard, who was flashing at times. People were wondering if he was going to make the roster or at least be on that practice squad. So, in the last $2 chat from Greg Braggs, great show, except Carmen Pizzatola.
Yeah, probably. That is probably true. All right, so here's our schedule for the next couple days. Never mind. Seth Crane, $50 super chat coming here at the finish line. So Thursday I met Caleb's dad at the Chiefs game. And then today I found out from my wife's grandma that she is cousins with Red Grange. Needless to say, it's probably been the second best week of my life. Okay.
You found out from your wife's grandma. Your wife's grandma is cousins with Red Grange.
Yeah.
That's big for you, Crane. Big enough for a $50 super chat. You are the man. And that's cool that you got to meet Caleb's dad.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate that. This Puzatul, just laughing. All right, Monday we are back to our old normal, and we will stick with it throughout the season. Noon time slot. We'll be back in studio, and I'd say that means Carm's mic problem solved. But Carm won't be there because he's going to the U.S. Open. I believe it'll be Nicholas Moriano and myself on Monday in studio. And we will keep that same schedule for exactly one day, because on Tuesday we have our once the roster's set, we will have a roster deadline special, whatever you want to call it. And then I don't know why you're waving fingers at me, but
Isn't the show at 3:00? It's at 3.
yes, assuming the roster comes out right at 3 when that gets done. So it could be a fluid situation. Anyway, we're off tomorrow. Bears are off tomorrow. Everybody enjoy their Sundays. We will be back Monday at noon. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.